Hello everyone. In this video we're going to walk through the configuration of a new or updated feature that just came out with OneFS 9.11. At the time of this video it just came out earlier this week, I believe. SmartSync has been around for a little while, however a brand new feature was added to it, and that's the ability to do incremental backups to a cloud target. Prior to 9.11, SmartSync was still around. However, you could only do a copy of a data set to a cloud target as a one-time thing. Now you're able to do incremental backups. So you're able to copy your data there and then, incrementally change that as your file system changes. All right, so to get started, I am going to be using a lot of the commands, and where I got most of the instructions are from the 9.11 CLI administration guide. There is a document out there. It's SmartSync, but it was updated, I believe, July or something like that of 2024. So it hasn't been updated yet with the current changes that were just launched. To get started, so this is a fresh install of the OneFS Simulator 9.11. And we're going to walk through everything you pretty much need to do from a SmartSync standpoint to get the incremental backups, being pushed to a cloud target. I do have, SMB enabled. I have all the software features enabled. SyncIQ is a requirement for SmartSync to run, as well as snapshots, I believe. But with that, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to need to do is enable the DM service, the data mover service. So I'm going to enable that right now. SmartSync can transfer data to another PowerScale cluster. With that, it is required to set up certificates between the source and target clusters. You do not have to do that when you're using a cloud target. However, you do have to generate the certificates on the source cluster, and that's really to enable the data mover daemon. So we're going to go and do that now. I'm going to copy and paste all of the commands I'm using down below in the description as well. Okay, for this, you can enter all of the requested information if you want. I am just going to hit enter and go through all of those. All right, so we generated the CA. Now we need to generate the CI. And once again, I'm just going to enter through all of this. However, you do what you need to do for your environment. All right, now we need to create a file. Okay, we did that. All right, now we need to sign the source cluster's CI with the source cluster's CA. To do that, we're going to run this command. Okay, certificate self-signature, okay, that's good. All right, now we need to install the source cluster's CA. Okay, we can say we created it. And now we need to install the CI. All right, that looks good. Now we can check to see if the data mover daemon is running. To do that, we're going to use this command. All right, we can see that it is. Okay, now let's go ahead and create our cloud account. So this is the going to be our target, where we're going to be sending the incremental backups to. And once again, you'll need to change this command to match, wherever you're sending it, the access ID and the secret key. This is actually going to an ECS cluster, virtual cluster running. But if you're using AWS or anything like that, you'll need to change the account type. And of course, the URI and all the secret information. Okay, so now we can see that this was created. It's a good idea to go ahead and copy this account down. You'll need that later on, but you can get that through running this command, this izzy dm accounts list command. Okay, so here we can see the account we just created. We can also see the local account right here. You'll need to copy this down as well. You'll need to use this here in just a moment. Okay, once you've copied the account information, it's time to move on, and we can go ahead and create our data set. So this is the directory and subdirectories that we're actually going to be backing up. All right, you can see I entered in the command right there. You will need to change the account ID. So this ID right there, that's the local in the guides that you'll find online, like the CLI guide that I have linked down below. This is referred to as the local account ID, and that of course is what we're using because this is what we're planning on backing up to the to our target. All right, so we created that policy. All right, now we can actually create the data mover policy. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that right there. So this, you're going to need to change several different things on here. One, you're going to need to change the path to the original, the base path. That should be the same as what you created as the base path up here. You'll need to change the target account ID. That's the cloud one that we created a little bit ago. For the recurrence, you can change that. This is a cron setting right there. So if you don't know how to do cron, you can just Google like cron calculator or something like that, and then it'll walk through this. Just leaving that default like this. I believe the way it'll work is it'll do incremental backups every hour. So an hour after you schedule this, every hour after that, it'll check for any changes and then send those incremental changes to the target. This is a repeat copy job. So this is different. This is the new feature that was added to be used with cloud. Before you could only do copy. So prior to 9.11, you could just just send the data to the cloud provider, and you just got a second copy sitting there. You couldn't do incremental backups after that. With this feature, obviously you can. One important thing to note, this is kind of like cloud pulls in that when you do a cloud backup, you can't just browse the files with S3 browser, for example, and have access to those files. They'll have to be retrieved back through the PowerScale cluster, similar to the way cloud pulls works. Okay, we created the actual data mover policy, so now we can run this isEDM policies list, and we can see our policies that we've created. So we can see the initial policy, the data creation policy, and then the repeat copy, the actual data mover policy right there. With that should have kicked off the job, so we can check to see if the initial job has completed running. All right, let me make this a little bit bigger so it's easier to read. Okay, so we can see the initial data set creation job has finished with no failure. So now we can log into our S3 browser, and here we can see the data has been transferred. So this is what it looks like. So like I mentioned before, you cannot access the data. These don't just show up as regular files, right? They show up as chunks and all this. So you definitely need to access, you need to retrieve it or pull it back through using the data mover within a PowerScale. All right, and that's really all we need to do to get cloud backups set up and running. Things to check, this isEDM reports list job to see if anything has, finished or failed, etc. Also check that to make sure that, the incremental jobs are running as expected. Another place to look, if I pull up the GUI or the web interface here, if we look at snapshots, you should be able to see the snapshots that were created. So as you can see, this was the initial snapshot that was created whenever we created the data set. Okay, there are several other policies that you can create and different ways you can configure this using things like base policies and concrete policies, things like that. But for anything more in depth than what I've shown you today, look to the 9.11 CLI guide, and then eventually whenever it gets updated, the actual SmartSync Whitepaper that specifically discusses SmartSync. All right, well, that's all I have today for you fine folks. We'll catch you in the next one.